11 p.m. on a Tuesday. My Airbnb in Portland smelled like lavender detergent and someone else's life. I was sitting on the edge of the bed, laptop balanced on my knees, finishing a report that should have been done by 5. The room felt like an aquarium, quiet, contained, glass walls between me and the world. Then my phone buzzed on the nightstand. I almost didn't look, thought it was another spam email, but something in my chest tightened. You know that feeling? When your body knows before your brain does? I reached over. The screen lit up blue. Large transaction approved. My pulse kicked hard, once, twice. I swiped. The banking app opened slow, like it was giving me one last second to not know. Then the number appeared. $9,870. Reception payment successful. The air left my lungs like someone had pulled the plug. I'm Kathy, 31. I work in tech, live alone. Been saving since I was 22. I thought I knew boundaries. I thought I'd built walls high enough. I was wrong. Let me back up 6 weeks. My brother Brandon called me on a Sunday morning, said he was getting married, said prices jumped last minute, flowers went up, photographer wanted double, venue deposits came early. He sounded stressed. I felt bad, so I offered him a prepaid card, $1,000. I loaded it myself, handed it to him at Mom's house, and said it clearly. This is my gift. That's it. Don't come back for more. He hugged me, said thank you, said I was saving his life. Somewhere in that process, maybe during a venue call, maybe for a deposit form, I gave him temporary access to one of my cards. Just for verification, he said, just to hold the date. I thought I revoked it the same day. Maybe I forgot, maybe he wrote down the numbers. Either way, the screen in my hand didn't lie. Balance $11.33 left. I sat there staring at my phone. The room got smaller. My hands started shaking. Have you ever felt your own heartbeat in your fingertips? That's what it was like. I scrolled through the transactions. Gas station, liquor store, some boutique in Manhattan I'd never heard of. Small charges first, 50 here, 80 there, testing the water. Then bigger ones, 200, 500, building up to this, the final hit, almost 10 grand. Gone. I called him. My fingers barely worked. It rang once, twice, 3 times. Then his voice. Half drunk, half something else. Smug, maybe. Like he'd been expecting this. Kathy, hey. Brandon, what did you do? Silence. Not the kind where someone's thinking. The kind where someone's deciding which lie to use. What are you talking about? My account, $9,000 for your reception. He laughed. It sounded like ice cracking under boots. Oh, that. Yeah, the venue needed it tonight or they were canceling. I figured you wouldn't mind. You figured I wouldn't mind? Come on, you're rich. You're alone. You don't have kids. You don't have a wedding coming up. Consider it your gift. My throat closed. I couldn't breathe right. I already gave you a gift. $1,000? That doesn't even cover the DJ. His voice wasn't apologizing. It wasn't even pretending. It was entitled, like I owed him this, like my money was his backup plan. I hung up. My hand was still shaking. I called Mom next. She picked up on the first ring. Background noise, TV, maybe Dad talking. I told her what happened. Told her Brandon stole from me. Told her I was filing a dispute. Her voice went cold. Not disappointed. Cold, like metal. Kathy, don't do this. Don't ruin his big day. Ruin his big day? Mom, he stole $10,000 from me. He's your brother. He's getting married. You'll embarrass the whole family. I felt something snap inside my chest. Not loud, quiet, like a thread breaking. Then only you'll have trouble, I said. I hung up before she could answer, pulled my suitcase out from under the bed, threw in clothes, laptop, charger, didn't fold anything, didn't think, just moved. I left that Airbnb at 4 in the morning, drove south with the windows down and the radio off, watched the streetlights pass like ghosts. By sunrise, I was 2 states away. Has your family ever treated your wallet like the family piggy bank and your savings account like an ATM they could just hit up without even asking? Spill the tea, drop your city, and a quick story in the comments below. Who knows, we might all be floored by what they've pulled. And smash that subscribe button right now, because what I did the next morning totally flipped the script and saved my ass. Trust me, you won't want to miss how I made it happen. Morning came with silence, the kind that presses against your ears. I sat at a diner 2 hours outside Portland, nursing black coffee that tasted like burnt regret. The clock on the wall ticked. Each second felt like a hammer. I opened my laptop. The screen glowed pale in the gray light. Time to see how deep this went. I pulled up 2 months of transactions, started scrolling. My stomach dropped with every line. Gas station in Brooklyn, $47. Liquor store, $83. Some boutique called Russo's Tailoring, $600 for a suit rental in Manhattan. Then the bigger hits, $500, $200, $1,100. Tiny cuts before the final blow. This wasn't a mistake. This was a pattern. This was calculated. I took screenshots, one after another. Click, save. Click, save. My hands weren't shaking anymore. They were steady, cold. You ever notice how anger can make you calm? That's where I was, past rage, into something sharper. At 8:30, I called the bank, waited through the hold music. Some woman named Angela picked up. I explained everything. Unauthorized charges, family member, no permission. She put me on hold, came back 3 minutes later. We filed the dispute. The charge is frozen pending investigation. Frozen? Yes, ma'am. The merchant won't receive the funds until this is resolved. I felt something unlock in my chest. Not relief, not yet, but air. I could breathe. How long does that take? 7 to 10 business days. We'll need documentation. I have it. I'll send everything today. I hung up, finished my coffee, paid the check, walked to my car. My phone started buzzing before I even got the door open. Brandon, then Mom, then Brandon again. I let it ring. Got in, started the engine, drove to a library 20 minutes away, found a quiet corner, printed every transaction, every email, every text where he asked for just one more thing. The printer hummed, pages stacked. I stapled them together. The sound felt final, like closing a book. My phone exploded around noon. 8 voicemails, 12 texts. I listened to the first one. Brandon's voice, arrogant at first. Kathy, what the hell? The venue just called, said the payment bounced. You're gonna ruin everything over some paperwork? I deleted it, played the next one. Different tone now, panicked. Kathy, please, they're threatening to cancel. Just release the hold. I'll pay you back, I swear. I deleted that one too. Mom texted at 1:15. Come tomorrow. Don't stay bitter. Family forgives. I stared at the screen. My thumbs hovered. Then I typed, "You raised a thief. Watch him sink." I blocked her number, blocked Brandon's, blocked Dad's, blocked everyone. My phone went quiet. It felt like putting down a weight I'd been carrying for years. 2 days passed. Silence. I stayed in a motel outside Salem, worked remotely, ate takeout, didn't talk to anyone. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. Kathy, it's Dad. His voice sounded tired, older than I remembered. What do you want? I'm calling to tell you it's handled. Someone's helping. Brandon found a temporary fix. Good for everyone. What fix? Just let it go. The wedding's happening. No one's mad anymore. I hung up. My stomach turned. That phrase, someone's helping. I opened my laptop, logged into my credit monitoring account, refreshed the page. There it was, a $15,000 personal loan in my name, pending approval. Application date? Yesterday. My heart stopped. Then it kicked into overdrive. You ever feel your pulse in your throat? I couldn't swallow, couldn't think. I clicked the details. Bank, some online lender I'd never heard of. Address, mom and dad's house. Email, mine, but not one I used. Forged, all of it. I filed a fraud claim right there, clicked every button, uploaded my ID, wrote in the notes, identity theft, family member, did not authorize. Hit submit. The confirmation screen loaded. My hands were shaking again. I called Dad back. He picked up on the first ring. You saw it, I said. Silence. Long. Heavy. Kathy, who did it? Brandon? Mom? You? It's just temporary, to cover the venue until what? Until I forget? Until I forgive? You put a loan in my name without asking. We didn't think you'd notice right away. By the time you did, we'd have it sorted. The line went dead. Not because he hung up, because I did. My hands were numb. I sat there staring at the motel wall. The paint was peeling near the corner. I watched it like it was the only real thing left. 3 days later, I walked into a law office in Eugene. Small place, wood paneling, smelled like old paper and coffee. I'd found the lawyer online. Good reviews. Specialized in family fraud cases. His name was Martin. Gray hair, kind eyes. The kind of person who'd seen worse. I handed him the folder, 2 inches thick. Statements, screenshots, emails, texts, the loan application printout. He flipped through it, slow. Didn't say anything for a full minute. Then he looked up. You want to press charges? Yes. Against your brother? Against whoever did this. Brandon? My parents? I don't care. He leaned back in his chair. This will escalate things. You understand that? Family cases get ugly. It's already ugly. He nodded. Okay, I'll draft a demand letter, file a police report for identity theft, request a credit cleanse. If they don't cooperate, we go to court. How long? Depends. Could be weeks, could be months. I have time. He smiled. Not happy, just understanding. Most people don't make it this far. They back down. Family guilt is powerful. I'm not most people. I signed the retainer agreement, paid the deposit, walked out into the parking lot. The sky was gray, rain starting. I got in my car, turned the key, and for the first time in a week, I felt something close to calm. The bank called on a Thursday morning. I was in my car, parked outside a grocery store, staring at a shopping list I'd written 3 times and forgotten twice. The number came up as Wells Fargo Corporate. My hand froze on the steering wheel. Miss Chen? Yes. This is Rachel from the fraud department. Your dispute has been reviewed. We're reversing the charge. $9,900 will be back in your account within 48 hours. I couldn't speak. My throat closed. Not from relief, from something heavier. Vindication, maybe? Or just exhaustion. The merchant has been notified, Rachel continued. We've labeled this as corporate fraud. They'll need to resolve payment through the original cardholder. Thank you. I hung up, sat there. The parking lot was full of people doing normal things, loading groceries, buckling kids into car seats, living lives that didn't involve reversing stolen money from family members. I felt like I was watching them through glass. My phone buzzed an hour later. Brandon. I let it go to voicemail, listened later. His voice had changed, not smug anymore, desperate. Kathy, please, the venue's threatening to sue me. They already printed invitations, booked the caterer. I'll pay you back, $200 a month, I swear. Just don't do this. $200 a month for a $10,000 theft? That's 50 months, over 4 years, an insult disguised as effort. I deleted the message. 2 days later, Martin called, my lawyer. His voice was tight, controlled, the way people sound when they're holding back something big. Kathy, we need to meet, today if possible. What happened? New documents came through. Post-reversal audit. You need to see this in person. I drove to his office. Got there in 20 minutes. He had papers spread across his desk, highlighted sections, yellow sticky notes everywhere. He pointed to the first stack. Merchant accounts, 3 of them, opened in your name over the last 6 months. Small purchases at first, building credit history, then the big charge. My stomach dropped. I didn't open any accounts. I know. Look at this. He slid over another page. Credit agreement. My signature at the bottom. Except it wasn't my signature. Close, but Bouquet was wrong. Too looped. Notary stamp, Martin said, tapping the corner. This woman, Barbara Feldman, works at a UPS store in Newark. Your family used her before? I don't know. Maybe? He pulled out his phone, showed me a photo. Middle-aged woman, blonde hair, standing next to my stepmother at some event, smiling, arms around each other. That's from your stepmom's Facebook 2 years ago. Caption says, "Best fixer in the business." The room tilted. I gripped the edge of the desk. A fixer? Someone who helps people, bend paperwork, forge documents. She's good, almost got away with it. I couldn't breathe right. How many documents? 7 that I found so far. Could be more. Ever had your identity used without consent? Had someone turn your name into a tool for their own plans? Comment "financial safety" below, and I'll send you my checklist, the one I wish I'd had 6 months ago. Martin leaned back. I've filed reports with the FTC, the police, but here's the thing. This fixer, she's connected. Your family's been using her for years. Small stuff, lease applications, background checks. This is the first time it's gone this big. What do we do? We wait, let the investigation build, and we prepare for them to push back. He was right. They pushed back hard. Sunday afternoon, my phone rang. Unknown number again. I answered. It was my aunt, Aunt Betty, Dad's sister. Her voice sounded weak. "Kathy, it's Betty." "Aunt Betty, hi." "I'm at St. Mark's, the hospital. I wanted you to know. Everyone's here. Your parents, Brandon, even your cousins. We're doing a family call. Can you join?" Something felt wrong, but I said yes. She texted me a video link. I clicked it. 12 faces appeared on my screen. Aunt Betty in a hospital bed, everyone else crowded around. Mom in the front, stepmom beside her, Brandon in the back, arms crossed. Mom spoke first. "Kathy, thank you for joining. Betty wanted us all together, to talk, to heal." I didn't say anything, just watched. "We know you're upset," Mom continued, "but family is family. We protect each other. Betty's been asking about you. She's been worried." I looked at Aunt Betty. She looked pale, tired, but not dying. I pulled up another tab on my laptop, hospital visitor logs. I'd requested them 2 days ago through a records request. Martin helped. St. Mark's sent them this morning. I held up my phone to the camera. This is the visitor log for Aunt Betty's room, last 2 weeks. The screen went quiet. Not one family visit. Not Mom, not Dad, not Brandon. The only updates in your family chat? I pulled up screenshots, photos I took, from my Instagram, from 3 years ago. You've been using my pictures to pretend you're visiting her. Silence. Heavy, thick. My stepmom leaned forward. "Kathy, we protected your privacy. We didn't want to burden you with—" "You protected your story," I said, "not my truth." I left the call. My hand was shaking, but not from fear, from clarity. 10 minutes later, a text came through. Unknown number. "Push this further and papers vanish. Think about what you're doing." A threat. Thin-veiled, clumsy. I screenshot it, sent it to Martin, sent it to the police detective handling my case, added a note, "Fixer or family, either way, evidence." The detective called me an hour later. "We've got enough. Stay put. Don't engage." I didn't, but the chain reaction started anyway. Brandon got suspended from his job. Some client audit flagged irregular financial activity. They froze his accounts pending investigation. He called me 16 times. I didn't answer. My parents got subpoenaed, had to turn over bank records, phone logs, emails. I heard from my cousin they argued for 3 hours in their driveway. Neighbors watched. One of them filmed it. It ended up on a neighborhood Facebook page. Mom crying, Dad shouting, the kind of scene they'd spent decades avoiding. I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel vindicated. I just felt hollow, like watching a house of mirrors crack from the inside. You ever see something break and realize it was never solid to begin with? That's what this was. The foundation had been rotten for years. I just finally stopped pretending it wasn't. Martin called that night. They're going to settle. I can feel it. They know they can't win. How long? A week, maybe 2. Good. I hung up, sat on the edge of my motel bed. The TV was on, some cooking show. The chef was making pasta from scratch, talking about patience, about letting dough rest. I watched until I fell asleep. The courtroom felt sterile. White walls, fluorescent lights humming overhead, wooden benches that smelled like lemon polish and old anxiety. I sat in the 3rd row, hands folded in my lap. Brandon sat 2 rows ahead with his lawyer, a guy in a cheap suit who kept checking his phone. My parents weren't there. They'd been advised not to come. The judge was a woman in her 60s, gray hair pulled back tight, reading glasses on a chain. She didn't look up when we entered, just kept reading the file. 40 pages. Every transaction, every forged signature, every email from the fixer, the metadata trail that showed exactly when and where each document was created. Martin sat beside me, calm, still. He'd told me that morning, "Let the evidence talk. You don't need to." The hearing took 30 minutes. Brandon's lawyer tried, said it was a misunderstanding, a family miscommunication, that Brandon intended to pay everything back. The judge looked up once, just once, over her glasses. The lawyer stopped talking. "This isn't miscommunication," she said. Her voice was even, flat. "This is theft, identity fraud, forgery. The evidence is clear." She read the verdict without pause. Brandon to repay the full amount, $9,900, plus interest, plus my legal fees. Payment plan, $500 a month, non-negotiable. Failure to pay would result in wage garnishment. Then she added something I wasn't expecting. Additionally, the defendant will file a written apology with this court to be entered into public record, acknowledging the theft, acknowledging the harm done to his sister. My breath caught. A permanent mark, not hidden, not whispered about at family dinners, public, recorded, the kind of thing that doesn't disappear. Brandon's face went white. His lawyer started to object. The judge raised one hand. This is not a negotiation. Court adjourned. The gavel came down, sharp, final. I stood up. My legs felt weak. Martin touched my elbow. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said. "I'm okay." We walked out into the hallway. Bright sunlight through tall windows. I could see the parking lot. People getting into cars, driving away to normal lives. I wanted that. Normal, boring, safe. That night, I started making changes, real ones, the kind that lock doors permanently. I changed my address, filed a forwarding request to a P.O. box 3 towns over, changed my phone number, updated every account, bank, email, utilities, social media. I made a list, checked off each item. It took 4 hours. I froze my credit with all 3 bureaus, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, set up alerts for any activity over $50, changed every password to something random, 20 characters, letters, numbers, symbols, stored them in a password manager I'd never used before. I locked the door to anyone who called themselves family but acted like strangers, not out of hate, out of preservation. You ever realize that boundaries aren't walls to keep people out? They're locks to keep yourself safe. That's what I learned. Too late, maybe, but I learned it. The apology letter arrived 3 weeks later. Martin forwarded me a copy, court seal at the top, Brandon's signature at the bottom, 3 paragraphs, admitting everything: the theft, the planning, the intent. It ended with one line: "I stole from my sister. This was wrong. I take full responsibility." I read it once, saved it to a folder labeled legal, closed my laptop. Didn't feel triumphant, didn't feel sad, just done, like finishing a book you never wanted to read in the first place. 2 days later, my phone rang. New number, voicemail notification. I almost deleted it, but something made me listen. "Kathy, it's Jennifer, Brandon's wife." Her voice was quiet, shaky, like she'd been crying but was trying to hold it together. "I'm leaving him. I read the court documents, a full record, everything he did, everything your family did. I wish I'd believed you sooner. I'm sorry I didn't." She didn't ask for forgiveness, didn't ask me to call back, just stated facts. Then the line went dead. I stood there holding my phone, kitchen light buzzing overhead. The window was open. I could hear traffic outside, someone laughing, a dog barking, normal sounds, life continuing. I didn't call her back. That chapter was closed. Not with anger, not with bitterness, just closed, like shutting a door softly and walking away. Some stories don't need epilogues. They just need to end. I made tea, sat at my small kitchen table, pulled out a notebook, started writing a checklist, the kind I wished someone had given me a year ago. 5 steps, simple, clear. 1. Freeze your credit immediately. 2. Set transaction alerts above $50. 3. Change passwords everywhere. Use a manager. 4. Document everything: screenshots, emails, dates. 5. Trust your gut. If something feels wrong, it probably is. I tore out the page, folded it, put it in my wallet. A reminder, not of what happened, but of what I survived and what I'd never let happen again. Outside, the sun was setting, orange light spilling through my window. My apartment was small, quiet, mine. No one had a key but me. No one had access to my accounts but me. No one could use my name but me. For the first time in months, I felt light. 6 months later, I'm sitting in a new apartment, different city, different view. The kitchen window looks out over a park where people jog at dawn and couples share coffee on benches. I pour myself a glass of water. Cold, clear, simple. My bank account is finally back in black. Not because my family changed, not because Brandon suddenly grew a conscience, but because I pulled the brake in time. You know what nobody tells you about situations like this? The hardest part isn't the confrontation. It's not the court. It's not even the money. It's the silence that comes after, the absence where family used to be. At first, it feels like loss. Then, one day, you wake up and realize it feels like peace. Forgiveness became a different word for me. I used to think it meant reconciliation, hugging it out, moving forward together. But I learned something harder and truer. Forgiveness is release. It's putting down a backpack full of rocks you've been carrying up a mountain, not because the people who filled it asked you to, but because your back can't take the weight anymore. I don't hate Brandon. I don't hate my parents. Hate takes energy I don't want to spend. They exist somewhere out there, living their lives, telling their version of what happened. And I exist here, in my quiet apartment, with my name attached only to things I chose. That's enough. They thought my silence meant bitterness, that I was punishing them by staying away. But silence isn't punishment. It's just an answer, a clear one. It says, I'm done explaining myself. I'm done defending my boundaries. I'm done letting you rewrite history in the family group chat I'll never rejoin. The door isn't locked because I'm angry. It's locked because I finally learned that love for myself has to come first. My stepmom sent a Facebook friend request last month. I stared at it for 10 seconds. Then I clicked decline. Not with rage, not with satisfaction, just with clarity. Some doors, once closed, don't need to be cracked open again, not even an inch. Here's what I wish someone had told me when I was younger. Family isn't an open credit line. You don't owe people access just because you share DNA. Boundaries aren't cruel. They're kind. Kind to the version of yourself that deserves protection. They're gentle locks that say, I care about you, but I care about me more. And that's not selfish. That's survival. I think about Aunt Betty sometimes, wonder if she ever learned the truth about those hospital visits, if anyone ever told her they were using 3-year-old photos of me to fake family unity. I hope she's okay. I hope someone real is sitting with her now. But I can't be the one to check. Some bridges don't burn. They just collapse under the weight of too many lies. And you can't rebuild on a foundation that was never solid. Evidence became my best friend. Not because I'm paranoid, because I learned that when someone writes your name on their debt, you write truth on the record. You document, you screenshot, you save receipts and emails and timestamps, not for revenge, for protection, so that when they try to rewrite the story, you can hold up the pages they forgot existed. The weirdest part? I'm happier now. Not in some dramatic movie-ending way, just lighter. My apartment is small, my circle is smaller, but everyone in it respects the word no. Everyone in it asks before they assume, and that feels like wealth I never knew existed. I keep the court apology letter in a folder I never open, not as a trophy, as a period at the end of a sentence I'm finally done writing. Brandon pays his $500 a month. The money shows up. No messages attached. We exist in parallel now, close enough to be legally connected, far enough that we'll never speak again. And I'm okay with that. Last week, I ran into an old family friend at the grocery store. She asked how everyone was doing. I smiled, said, I wouldn't know. She looked confused. I didn't explain, just paid for my groceries and walked out into the sunlight. Some explanations aren't owed. Some people will understand. Most won't. And that's fine. The sunset's happening right now, orange light spilling across my kitchen counter. I've got a job I love, friends who know my boundaries and respect them, a landlord who only has my real phone number. My life isn't perfect, but it's mine, fully, undeniably mine. If you take anything from my story, take this. Your name is yours. Your money is yours. Your peace is yours. Anyone who treats those things like communal property isn't family. They're just people who happen to know your middle name, and that's not the same thing, not even close. Walking away doesn't mean you're cold. Sometimes it means you're finally warm enough to know the difference between love and obligation, between family and people who share your last name, between forgiveness and doormat. I'm 31. I've got decades ahead of me, and not one of them will be spent explaining why I chose myself. That chapter is closed. This one, it's just beginning. Take care of yourself, protect yourself, and remember, the people who love you won't make you choose between your safety and their comfort. The ones who do, they've already made the choice for you.